Are you bored living a mediocre life? We were too, and we know how to change that. Each week, we'll leave our comfort zones to explore a new topic, then step onto our soapboxes, a safe space to sound off on our latest adventure. Come explore with us. All opinions are welcome. This is a mindset. This is a lifestyle. This is Siren Soapbox.
Hello, thank you for diving in with us, fellow explorers. In today's episode, we are challenging each other to explore outside our comfort zones surrounding food. We've explored our local cuisines before in episode 89, and today we're taking it global by exploring the world in our kitchens with Eat2Explore. The founder, Rowena, created Eat2Explore as an experiential way to teach her children world cultures and cooking skills. The inspiration came during a vacation cooking class when she discovered that although her kids love to travel and taste different cuisines, they couldn't even chop an onion. So, Rowena decided to take things that she treasures the most, family, food, travel, and education, and create an opportunity for all children to discover cuisines from all around the world. Mealtime should be an experience. At Eat2Explore, they not only help you create a fun and educational experience, but they also feel it's their duty to provide adventures that will spark a lifetime of memories for those that you love. Each of the Sirens picked a country to explore at random, so let's find out how they did. But first, if at any time the conversation gets too intense, the safe word is
Mango.
Mango.
First up on her soapbox is Mer.
Thanks, Elsie. The Eat2Explore box I ordered was the United Kingdom box, and the 3 recipes included in the box are shepherd's pie, chicken tikka masala, and Irish lamb stew. In my family, shepherd's pie is a staple, and I've made a stew or two in my day, but I've never made chicken tikka masala until last night using the recipe and seasoning packets that came in the Eat2Explore box. By the way, each of my recipes made a lot of food, so they are perfect for a family. The recipe for the Irish lamb stew included instructions for making dumplings, which I've never done before. But to get the 2.5 pounds of lamb I would have needed for the stew, it would have cost me about $63. So instead, I just modified the challenge a little bit and went with a protein that was a little more affordable, and we had a delicious Irish beef stew instead. And one of the cool things about the Eat2Explore box is that all of the information and the activity sheets that are included. I learned some things about the UK, like that India used to be a British colony. Did you know that chicken tikka masala, a flavorful Indian dish, is the national dish in the United Kingdom? I had no idea. I was surprised.
I would actually explain why. That's a difference. Tikka and tikka masala.
Oh, okay. Well, I was surprised to get a recipe for chicken tikka masala in the UK box, but it was quickly taught why. And I guess I'm going to hear more about that in a bit also. My kiddos are basically adults. They didn't appreciate the activities as much as I did. But if you have younger children, the Eat2Explore box is a great way to explore new cuisines and new countries. I just bought the South Korea box today, in fact. So I will keep you guys posted. Sarah, did you enjoy your box?
Well, it feels like I've been looking forward to this episode forever. And I guess I have really. It was back in August that we picked our country after all. I ordered my box way back then, and it sat there waiting to be used for quite a while. So even though we weren't recording until now, which is April, I made my dishes back in January. Sorry. My verdict on the Eat2Explore box that I received, it was great fun. I'm no stranger to cooking. I really enjoy it. I used to help my mom with cooking at a pretty young age, so I do have a bunch of experience with it. One thing I never felt quite comfortable with, though, was the create your own dish idea. I always watched my mom take a recipe and turn it into a suggestion with great results, but I like following a plan for the most part. I've for years now used meal delivery companies, a variety of them, that send you the ingredients and a recipe, and that's actually helped me feel more comfortable with creating my own meals, as I've tried so many different recipes at this point. What I loved about the Eat2Explore box was not just that it had several recipes, but the fun background information about the region the box came from too. My box was Israel, so lots of great spice packets that you can't necessarily find just anywhere, and fun facts, dare I say, tasty morsels of information about the country. The whole experience was fun, really. I made falafels and a braised brisket with mushrooms and roasted root vegetables. Um, a lot of really good food. Eating the dishes was a lot of fun. I liked it, everything from finding out what I had in my pantry already, which was quite a lot, to making shopping lists for each dish and to making huge messes in the kitchen. But the eating part was the best part. I would definitely like to try a box from another country. The pictures that we were all sharing this weekend were making me want to try all of the countries that we picked. Elsie, how much fun did you have?
We had so much fun. And back when we picked the box and which countries we were going to get for the Eat2Explore episode, it was right around when Connor found out what house he was going to be in for the next 4 years in high school. He got Zaragoza, which is in Spain. So he was thrilled when he found out that the country I was diving into was Spain for Eat2Explore. As with most episodes, I use this as the perfect excuse to explore more. In this case, Findlay Market. I had never been there before, and I use that as an opportunity to find some fresh ingredients. So yesterday, the food tour of OTR with Jack, Mark, and Fiona was close to that market, and it was such a treat. We discovered that, or I discovered, the difference between your run-of-the-mill grocery store olive oil and real olive oil. I blame Mark, I'm never going back to that old stuff. It's so bitter. And if you've listened to this podcast for a while, you know that this girl does not eat vegetables. They for sure get me out of my comfort zone. So I had to get creative with the Spanish tortilla recipe. I pureed the red pepper and onion. Connor was so mad. We got into a debate about how cooking is not an exact science like baking is. And then also, let me tell you, never ever put your face over a steam of puree on the stove that has onion in it. It's like mace to the face. And after we finished crying, Connor read all the cool facts about Spain and the dishes. It was really cool to see him excited about learning while we're having fun together. And bonus, there was not a phone in sight. I was so nervous about the pureed vegetables. It was looking a bit watery, but after baking it for an extra 5 minutes, it was chef's kiss. Overall, what I love about this product is that, one, it got me to eat vegetables, and two, it got my teenager excited about reading for once and helping me cook. Now, if Eat2Explore can make a box that gets my child excited for cleaning his room, I'd be over the moon. TC, what country did you have?
My Eat2Explore box came from France. And I have to tell you, I absolutely love this idea. When my husband and I, that's right, I said husband, when we travel, we typically have food goals. We enjoy visiting the local food markets to see what kinds of things people buy, and we search out the local favorite restaurants, often ordering the server's favorite menu item. During one trip, the goal was to get that thing that each restaurant we visited was famous for. It was New Orleans, so we ended up with a lot of interesting drinks on that trip. For this episode, I explored the French cuisine. Dino and I made beef bourguignon. Hopefully I'm saying that correctly. Beef bourguignon is comparable to America's beef stew. The biggest difference that we noted is that the stew is cooked in red wine rather than beef stock, which actually gave all of it a different texture, and it had a much different taste. I learned that this recipe was developed in Burgundy, France, and that's why it's called beef Burgundy. We had to make a few adjustments based on what was available in our grocery stores here. We could not find pearl onions, though we did find a sign for them. So I do know that sometimes you can get pearl onions on St. Croix. So we used a regular onion, which was an option provided by the recipe. The big switcheroo that we did, we could not find celery root, which the recipe mixed with potatoes for celery root mash. I'm sure that that's delicious and is probably wonderful paired with beef bourguignon. Instead, we gave up altogether on that idea and we had it over pasta. Might have taken away some of its Frenchness, but it was really delicious. Mostly, we just loved cooking the recipe together. We had a lot of fun in the kitchen and just enjoyed the time together, which I think was the spirit of why they were created in the first place. But now it's got me thinking about how this concept could be used in a school. I would love to figure out a way to bring some boxes like this into my school here on St. Croix and have the kids explore cooking from around the world. That would be a lot of fun. Maybe I'll ask Rowena Schur, who is the founder and president of Eat2Explore. She's also a chef, accomplished financial executive, and graduate of the French Culinary Institute. Growing up in Malaysia, some of Rowena's fondest memories were in the kitchen cooking with her family. It was during these moments that she developed her palate and sustainable consumption habits, as well as confidence and independence. But after years working on Wall Street and living in fascinating places around the world, life became too busy for family meals. She realized she needed to start creating lasting memories at home while also instilling the important life skills she learned as a child. So Rowena decided to take the things she treasured the most, family, food, travel, and education, and create an opportunity for all children to discover cuisines from around the world. Following her time at the French Culinary Institute, she began to source hard-to-find and non-perishable ingredients to highlight locally cherished foods. She also built a team of trusted educators around Eat2Explore to transform the cooking experience into an educational journey. The result is an explorer box filled with authentic recipes, activities, and collectibles that offer a one-of-a-kind, award-winning cultural education through food exploration. Sirens, please help me welcome Rowena Schur to this episode of Siren Soapbox.
Hey,
Welcome to the show, Rowena.
Thank you, everyone. This is so fun. Thank you for telling me all the different countries you explored. That's amazing.
So much fun.
So, do you want me to start with telling you what the difference between tikka and tikka masala, since we have that conversation?
Yeah.
Okay, just a quick one. It would be very quick. So, tikka is an Indian, like a tandoori. So it's called tikka. And then it's actually, you cannot find chicken tikka masala in India because it doesn't exist. It's actually founded in London, where a British gentleman went to an Indian restaurant and said the tikka was too spicy. So the chef poured a can of tomato sauce with the yogurt, because yogurt kind of lighten your palate in terms of spiciness, and then into the tandoori chicken, and hence you got chicken tikka masala, which has a sauce of tomato sauce with yogurt. Yeah, so that's
interesting.
That's the story. And it's a national dish of UK.
Yeah, that would surprise me.
Yeah, me too. So we were all sharing pictures of what we were cooking while we were cooking it, or after we cooked it, if you were Siren Sarah. And it all looks so delicious, but we're curious, which of the boxes or which recipe is your favorite?
So it's not country specific, it's recipes that I like beef bourguignon has always been my go-to. I love it. It's a comfort food for me. And yes, I've done it over pasta, and I also done it over mashed potatoes. And so it's always a great winter dish. And I like that you can tell the difference because the wine coming from Burgundy really give that extra acidity to the sauce and kind of cut off the oil too. So that's my favorite, one of my favorite. The other one I love is obviously Singapore. I love chicken satay. I come from Malaysia, so the food is very comforting to me. I just found out that you bought South Korea. One of my favorite, bulgogi, which is dakgogi. You can make it chicken or beef. Amazing. And you actually get you can roll gimbap, which is a Korean sushi. It's not sushi, it's Korean gimbap. It's like a sushi mat. So that's another thing. Every country has one of my favorite, one or two of dishes that I love. So it's hard to pick my favorite.
I love how easy you've made it. One of the reasons that I've never made chicken tikka masala, it probably won't surprise some of you guys to know that Mark has actually made it, because Mark, that's what he does. He loves to get a recipe with a million ingredients and spend his whole day making a meal for people. But I love cooking. I just don't have that kind of patience, and I don't want to spend all the money to get all of the spices I need to make the spice blend to
Right.
have a good tikka masala. So I love that you have all of that prepackaged ready to go.
Yeah, thank you. I think my whole concept is, I feel like, especially with children and the fact that a lot of these cuisines are new to most people, it's just easier to try it. And then if you like it, then you can invest in the spices or the sauces. A best example is fish sauce, right? So a lot of people are very intimidated with fish sauce. And you only use a dash of it, like in our Thailand boxes, we give little sachet of fish sauce. And if you like it, then go buy a big bottle because that's all you can get in the market. It's a big bottle of fish sauce, which you only use a teaspoon, right?
Right.
So a lot of thing I feel is wasteful if you buy it and you never use it again. So we did to explore it allows you to try it, especially in a cuisine you never done before, to see if you like it. Then you can go and make for purchase of all the different spices, blend or sauces.
With so many different options in a country, how do you choose three? Is there a certain country that was really just difficult to narrow it down?
We have 22 countries and we add a new country every year. And I typically go for, and first of all, people have asked me, why did you pick the countries you picked? And the answer is either I've lived there, I've visited, and I'm comfortable with the country dishes, or I have very close friends from that country who I then collaborate with, or more and more now, I actually found restaurants, chefs that I collaborate with. And then we kind of go back and forth on what are the popular recipes or dishes for the country. And then I kind of make it Eat2Explore like, where I figure out what kids will like, and then that's more palatable, and then we'll go from there. For instance, we're doing a Ukraine box this year. Super excited. It's coming out in October, doing Pierogi Day. And I'm doing it with this really famous Ukraine restaurant in Lower East Side, New York, called Veselka. We went back and forth, and I said, no way kids are going to eat borscht, which is a beet soup. So we are making pierogies, which is fun to make. And then we're going to have a Ukrainian meatballs. And then even the stuffed cabbage is a little out there, but I think kids will still eat stuffed cabbage because you have meat in it. Or if you do vegan, you got the lentils. So yeah, I ditched borscht because I just don't think any kids would want to eat borscht.
I love beets, and I don't know that I want to eat that. Although
It's still
Elsie,
delicious.
it sounds like Elsie
Delicious. I've
prefers.
done it before, and it's just a little hard to convince kids to drink a red soup. It's
Yeah.
like all beet.
It sounds like Elsie would prefer it that way, though. So,
But going back to your question, three recipes are easier to find. Like, what are the top recipes of the country, and then just modify three that is great to start. And the idea of three, just FYI, is that I feel so. Eat2Explore is like you said. If you get into a routine, you want to do it once a week, which is how I grew up. Which is kind of I did the thought came to me. When I was growing up, my mom is like, every Sunday during lunch in the morning, you wake up, you clean your room, and then we're going to make a meal together. And that's our Sunday routine. And I grew up, that is my routine. And think about it, it's once a week. So it's not overwhelming as a child, right? I can dedicate the time. And then I have the free time to hang out with my friends. So I feel like if you commit as a family to cook together once a week, pick a weekend, weekend night, sorry, that it's easier and you do it together. You take your time off computer or your phone and you make a meal and then you sit down and eat. So therefore three, it's, if you do it once a month, three is you do once a weekend for the whole month. So I don't want to overwhelm people. Like meal kits, for instance, you get it, you got to cook it in a week. 3 dishes or 4 dishes, it's a lot. And people get busy. And so I feel having just once a weekend for a month to explore a country is doable. So it's manageable.
Yeah, that's a good point. I've tried the meal kits, and actually I had one delivered. I forgot I was going to be out of town or something. And then I had to like scramble to find somebody to take it because it was all going to go bad before I came back from wherever I was going. So that is something that I liked about the Eat2Explore box was the flexibility with when I could use it.
Well, and the other flexibility is the ingredients. So you just swap the lamb with beef, right? And we also give you a lot of our boxes are vegetarian or gluten-free optional. So you can sub the meat protein with the vegetarian protein and make it a full vegetarian meal and vegan meal. So it's that option to swap. It's great for families. And the other thing is, by the way, going to grocery shopping, it's a learning moment. Bring the family together, give them a budget of say $20, said go shop for all this stuff. And then they can travel around the aisle. There's math involved. So it's also another learning moment. It's a great way to teach kids like what is fresh, what is not, what is this, and they're always curious. So bringing them to a supermarket it's a great opportunity.
Kids are the most curious. We could learn a lot from them.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. They ask you a question. You're like, oh, right.
Yeah, but like for my son, if I tell him let's go to the grocery, he's like, but for this, you have the list and you're exploring and it's for this project. And it just took it to a next level where he wanted to participate in those activities he didn't normally want to participate in. And then for me as a picky eater, being hands-on with the cooking, as uncomfortable as it was for me, I was more like, okay, I put all this work into making it. I'm going to try it. And I ended up liking it.
Yeah. Actually, that's a big point from our perspective is getting kids who are picky eater to try new food. And we have so many families that wrote to us and said, this is the first time my kids eat zucchini. And you got them to finish the whole zucchini. It's like things like that where they have never experienced it, but because they help make it and there's effort involved, they will try it. And I always said, let them make it, try it. If they don't like it, then at least they tried, or they could over time learn how to like it, especially with spices and all that, kind of more advanced flavor. Kids just need to learn their palate and they develop over time. And one other thing I wasn't sure if any of you noticed, which we are going to make into a booklet. If you go to the country brochure, there's a QR code that if you click on it, it's actually an online document that shows you, that teaches you geography, music, art, history, everything about the country with links to virtual museums, to YouTube videos, to books. And what we're doing now is, because a lot of people kind of miss that, we mention it a lot of time, but we're going to make that into a booklet that then you can go and get the link. And I'm also working on a playlist of music of each country.
Oh, that's fun.
Cool.
Fun.
Yeah, that's a great idea. See, I think it was Mur who mentioned that your recipe created, like you ended up with a lot of food. Our recipe said 4 servings. So we each ate this for dinner last night. I ate it for lunch today, and we each ate it for dinner just now, right before this recording. That's
Wow.
5 servings, and we're only halfway through.
Yeah,
And
it makes a lot of food.
You literally could, like, I could get a box a month for the kids at my school, and they could, they could each take turns chopping up the different things and preparing the food. But with that QR code you're talking about, they could spend like a whole month researching that country. That would be a lot of fun.
We are big with homeschoolers and all over US and Canada. They use us for multi-subject learnings. And also sometimes they use us for their unit studies where they do Europe. They'll buy our Europe bundle and then they'll explore all the European countries, download the lesson plan, learn about the history, the geography, the music and art. We've done all the work for you. It's just literally leveraging that and make it part of your educational.
Right.
Yeah, there's got to be a way to I don't know if you wouldn't want to get like one kit per student, but I noticed when I was poking around on the website today trying to decide which meal box to buy, that you can buy extra packets. So you already have the
Yeah.
recipe. So you can buy extra packets. So even if you did like
Yep.
one box and then additional packets or something like that, or a couple boxes, I don't know.
Yeah, we sell the spices on it too, because we have a lot of families that come back and say, hey, we love it, we want to make it again, can we just get the spices? And so we sell them. And in fact, we have a lot of people saying, well, I like to make the spices myself, which you should. I have just started a cookbook as well, so
Oh,
they can
cool.
actually get all of the mixes of the recipes of the spices in the cookbook. So.
Nice. Well, Mer, I think that given how much food my recipe made, if there are 20, 25 kids in a class and you gave
one
them
box is
like
enough. They
Yeah.
want to try, exactly.
it would be
Yeah.
enough. Yeah.
Yeah.
It would be enough.
I mean, they
Especially
don't have
if
to
you
make it
made-
like a full meal.
Yeah. If you made 2 of the recipes, you would have
Yep.
food left over.
Yeah,
I
you're
agree.
right.
I think one class, if you want them to explore learning and then just have a taste of it, not like a full meal, that's plenty to do. And depending on how big your class, or you can even increase a little bit of the ingredients, of the fresh ingredients, using the same spices, so it's not going to be as spicy. Or
Right. I wonder how the parents would feel when they found out that I was giving their kids a bottle of wine to cook with. Just kidding. I'm not going to, in case any of my parents are listening to this.
Oh, geez. So
I guess it cooks all the alcohol out, right? When you
Yes.
cook
that's
that,
it.
because it
Yes.
was, yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Or you can actually use vinegar if you don't want to. An alternative is just replace it with apple vinegar, which is in the recipe. So instead of wine, you can actually use apple cider.
to take us back to the very first Eat2Explore box, what did that look like?
Oh, Eat2Explore journey is interesting. So, I started it after, so I had a cooking class. My kids was a disaster. And so I came back from that trip, and I always been thinking about doing something different than being on Wall Street and being in finance. So that moment just motivated me. And I told my husband, I'm like, I'm getting older. I have done this finance thing. It's working out great, but I need more in my life. And so I sort of reflected on what matters to me and really tell the story. I love food. I've been very fortunate to travel everywhere. I really believe education is important, and also teaching kids to be more sensitive and more culturally aware. We are a global citizen after all, and the world is getting smaller, and it all has to happen from home, right? Start with the parents and the family. So it all started there. I came back and I went straight to my partners and I said, I'm taking a sabbatical. I need to see if this is going to work. I took a leave of absence and never went back. I started it. When I started it, I said, let's start with countries that I've been that I love food-wise. And so obviously France and Italy and, Asia, China. So those are the basic ones. So when I launched, it was with 6 countries, I think. And then we slowly added more and more over the years. And of course, I did speed up and did a lot the first year. So on the first year, we almost have like 14 countries because we keep adding. But yeah, so like I think Japan was the first one, and France, Italy, Mexico, and Brazil, and then we slowly add.
Do you learn any lessons from your first launch to now?
Oh, a lot. Oh my God, we're constantly improving. So when Eat2Explore first started live in 2017, it's completely different than what we have. It's a meal kit. It was when I left finance, meal kit was so popular. Like Blue Apron was popular, HelloFresh, everybody wants to do meal kit. And I tried all of them and I hated it because I don't think the produce was fresh and the spice, the food was not delicious and everything was not there for me. And so when I thought of doing Eat2Explore, was like, okay, you have an opportunity to teach, you have an opportunity to explore all the different ingredients, and the produce matters. So I wanted, and I've always been a farmer's girl. I go to Union Square every week and I get on my farm. I eat local, I eat, whatever's in season. So I say, why not bring that to families? So 2017, when we started, we're a meal kit, and I was, getting all this packet and deliver. It was a disaster. Like I was burned out after 6 months. It's hard to deal with fresh ingredients. Most of my customers who are beta testing with me were just saying, I can't keep up with all the food. It's just a lot of time to cook. And then worst thing is when it's farm fresh, it comes from the farm, it wilted very fast. You have to cook it within 2 to 3 days. Otherwise it's destroyed. So that added more stress, right? You got farm fresh, but it doesn't last. And so, within 6 months, in middle of 2017, I was burned out. I said, you know what? I need to put myself out there, compete, and see what people think. So I joined NYU Entrepreneur Challenge to compete with other startups. We came through to semifinalists, but throughout that whole 4-5 months process, everyone's like, why are you doing meal kit again? Why is you doing fresh ingredients? Love the idea of different culture, learning through food, but just don't think doing a meal kit makes sense. And also, that 2017 is when Blue Apron went public. Whole Food was bought by Amazon. And in my finance world, like that is huge, right? If Blue Apron with all the money can't even survive, and Amazon is coming into the fresh markets, it's going to change everything. So that was sort of the things that happened throughout the life of Eat2Explore. And after that competition, I just changed it. I pivoted. I got rid of the fresh ingredients and make it into more educational, make everything one box a country, downsize it to only 3 recipes. So it's constantly changing. Like we're now changing it, even the material. I'm creating a booklet. I'm adding more music. I'm adding more things to it. So it never ends. And one thing is I love talking. We have direct contact with our consumers. So we answer all calls, we answer all emails and chats. And it's just nice to know what people like about us and what people don't like about us, and where we can improve. And I said, we are constantly listening and improving. And that's right.
Yeah, I think you have a really great product. I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed it so much I bought a second one. So, and it's just me most of the time, but I thought it was really fun to learn about, these new recipes, and I'm excited to try there were like some sesame ginger meatballs or something in the South Korea box. I'm excited to try.
That's perfect.
Loved them. They're relatively easy to make and still delicious, because I like to cook, but I'm not really very good at it. I'm not like a cook. So it was really fun for us to shop for stuff. When we were in a grocery store, we just decided we were going to buy all kinds of different stuff that we don't usually buy from different countries. So we didn't just buy stuff that was for our box or for the recipes. Like we got these little wafer things from Austria, and we got this cheese that was from, I don't remember where, but we just started buying stuff from all over the world because it was fun.
I will say the only bad thing is that now it makes me want to travel.
Actually, you know what we started to do? We started working with tourism boards, because the best thing is to learn about the country and then you go travel in person. So we are very high in like getting people to learn all about the country first, and then you can make a trip there and experience in person.
That's a great idea. We just got our passport, so we're gonna have to do that before we
There
travel.
you go. Yeah, and make sure you go into the Explorer Guide and learn the history and geography. I think that's so much, makes the trip so much more fulfilling when you know all the little nuance and the history of it.
Absolutely.
Were there any surprising food combinations that you fell in love with while you were creating these boxes?
It's funny how cooking it, to me, it's my favorite time. Like when I relax and I chop and dice, and when I create things, it's sort of my brain changed. Like I want to make it easier, and then I also trying to get like the spices that's part of mine. So to answer your question, It depends on the country that I'm doing. So
Yeah, I always thought that I wasn't a fan of sweet and savory, but I'm
it's a
learning.
great combination.
Yeah, I'm learning that I actually think I do like it, especially if it's like sweet and savory with some spice, if it's a little spicy.
Yeah, yeah. And frankly, a little, I always said, a little dash of sugar just makes enhance the flavor a little bit. And so don't be afraid to just put a dash, and don't have to be a lot. I actually, one thing about the recipes is we don't really make it too flavorful. Like, you know, I always feel like salt should be added at the end because you want to taste it, and everyone has different tolerance for salt. So it's a complexity. The spices just create more complexity to the flavor. So
Yeah, I did notice that with the chicken tikka masala. It had a great flavor. I really enjoyed it. And it wasn't spicy at all. And when I typically order that from an Indian restaurant, I get a little spicy,
Yep.
but that's something
Yep.
that I could have added in later, I guess.
Yeah, I purposely curated where the spice is not heat spices, but the
Right.
flavors of spice. For instance, even the jerk chicken, where you actually use a very spicy chili, we make it into a different chili just to make it not heat spice.
More palatable for most children don't like spicy things,
Children,
but
yeah, but they love the flavor, so
right.
therefore you don't want them to be overwhelmed and not want to try it. So
Do you have a favorite story from someone who has purchased an Eat2Explore box or subscription?
yeah, we have many stories, but one that I love, and I always kind of quote it, is that it's like the best way to use Eat2Explore. She said she bought Jamaica. She actually said we had so much fun as family on a Saturday night. We played reggae music. We make the Jamaican food. We ate. We talk about the country and everything, and then they went and watched Cool Running after dinner. And so it's like a fantastic family movie night and dinner, and they make a meal. I thought it was beautiful. It's the best, really a good way. And it made me think about maybe list out like movies or documentaries to watch for each country to kind of enhance, or maybe even do like a little board game that you can play about the country during meal.
That's a great idea.
We
And
talked
then
about
name
that.
the travel agent so you can book your trip to Jamaica right after you finish dinner.
We talked about looking at games that were popular in France to see if we had all of the pieces we would need to, I mean, we have a huge game collection. And and then we ended up not doing it. But
So that's one story. Oh yeah, another one that I thought was amazing was this grandparents who bought it during COVID and loved it so much because they were cooking together in different cities. They were virtually cooking with the grandchildren, and they each got a box, and that was their time together. And they make a meal, and they and eat separately in the different cities.
Oh, that's so sweet.
Sirens, date night.
Hey.
Everybody get the South Korean box.
There you go. There you go.
I kind of want to get
the kids. By the way, it's not our food is not kid only; it's adult, and so we actually have a lot of couples who buy us just because they want to cook together and explore a different world, and not really, because it's kids. I mean, the food is not
right. What were you going to say, Elsie? Which one do you want to get?
Oh, I want to get the Jamaican one now.
Oh.
There you go. Watch Cool Running.
Yeah, there we go.
Oh, our Jamaica box, I did it with a Jamaican chef who actually won Chopped twice.
Oh, cool.
So.
Oh,
that's fun. My kids, isn't that the show where they give you like some weird ingredient and you have to try to make foods with that random ingredient in it? Yeah, my kids used to want to have a chopped challenge in the kitchen, which was always fun.
Yeah, that's a good one. You should do that.
yeah, do it with pickles, Mer.
I already did that a couple weeks ago. I'm still recovering.
She had a whole pickle party and just about pickled herself.
Wow.
Oh, I was definitely
Awesome.
pickled. I was dehydrated for like a week.
So how do you meet these chefs? Are these people that you've already met, or have you just like made such a name that when you reach out, people are like, yes, I want to work with you?
I wish, but some is because the people I know, and living in New York, I do have an opportunity to meet people, and also like for instance, Veselka, I just Ukraine, I just walk in, say I want to meet the manager, and I did some research and I chatted, and they said amazing, and now, and the funny thing is the chef heard of me even before I talked to her, and so she's like, I've heard of you. I was so excited. People keep telling me that I need to work with you. So it's kind of fun now to have the other way where people heard of us. But but I think, yeah, in a way, more and more, I love to try. I just did outreach. I just basically say, if people I know already, it's great. If not, I'll just reach out to the someone from the chef in the country and figure it out. And most people love it because it's a when you explain the mission about it, people appreciate and they understand it right away. It's like, of course, I want children to know about us, to learn about cuisine, to learn about our country. So it's a no-brainer. So
I saw on your website that you have an NYC box, and is it like 3 recipes from 3 different restaurants in New York City?
3 chefs, yeah. So that one has a story. It was during COVID. So one of my favorite chefs, probably Levin Madison, the #1 chef in the world for a long time, was on a podcast of how I built this. And he during COVID shut down the restaurant and turned it all to a food kitchen, working for this charity that he founded called Rethink Food in reducing food waste. And so he talked about how he basically closed down the restaurant, used all the staff to cook for the nurses and the homeless people, using food that are about to be thrown away by all the supermarkets because it either expired or something. And so it's reusing, reducing food waste and reusing all the fresh ingredients. So through contact, I reached out to him and we had this New York City box idea, which 20% goes to Rethink Food, and it still does. So the box sale goes to Rethink Food to reduce the food waste. And of course, then through Danielle, we got connected to 2 other top chefs. And so it's a box that is 3 New York City chefs.
That's very cool. All right, so I have an idea for you. You can just
Okay.
like add it to your website. You can come up with like ways to like eat your leftovers, like make them into something new. Like if you have leftover tikka masala, do this with it. Or if you have leftover beef, burgundy beef, this is what we do with it. That might be a fun little.
I actually am thinking of a food waste box, which a friend of mine runs a company on. It's similar where you basically a box using scraps of your carrots, scraps of your leek and all of that stuff, and then make it into a meal. So
That's a
that's
cool idea. I like that.
something that I'm thinking of.
Do you have any other projects on the horizon?
Oh, a lot. So we are adding, so I like to add 2 new boxes each year. It becomes overwhelmed and I try not to, but we do have a lot of people waiting. And I have customers who have tried all our countries and always waiting for the new one. So this year we're doing Ukraine. And then we actually have baking kits. We started wool baking kits where you make 3 desserts from 3 countries for the box. And so we have 2 already. So one is on global. So it has a recipe from, you're making mochi from Japan, you're making Croatia, actually that's Europe. Then you make natilla from Colombia, and then sakapari from Turkey. So that's global. And then we have one for Europe from Croatia, Austria, and Sweden. And then this year, I'm looking to do a German baking cookie box for the holiday. Yeah, so that is, if everything goes well, I'm actually going to collaborate with the German tourism board on this. So that's a plan. And then next year we're doing Iran for Nowruz.
Be on the lookout for all those. I
I
can't wait for
know.
some desserts.
See, my passion starts when it's like, creating new things. That's what I love. And then I have to deal with the day-to-day, like marketing and, system integration, all that stuff. It's like, oh,
I just want to make
people,
food.
I just want to create. I just want to
Yeah, that's the fun part.
Agreed. So, Rowena, what gets you out of your comfort zone and excited to explore?
I think the passion is what wakes up in the morning and do this every single day. I work a lot. I work so much more than when I was working for someone else. And so because I really believe, because I'm passionate, I believe, and my team's the same way. I think everybody does above and beyond because we believe we're building this thing that is going to help kids and help people in general. So that's what, give me the energy every day.
Well, I really enjoy what you're doing. I think this is a great concept. I'm excited to see it grow in our friend TC's school. Can't wait to hear about that.
Well, because schools nowadays have no home economics, so this is sort of a home economic replacement.
Yeah, Tracy teaches at a Montessori school, and so I think that model is a little different than your traditional public school. So, did I say you teach there?
I'm not sure, but you can say that.
Well, we want to leave our listeners with a challenge this week. Go out, grab an Eat2Explore box, and let us know how you like it. You can use the hashtag Siren Soapbox on all the social medias, or send us a message to sirensoapbox@gmail.com. Rowena, thank you so much for joining us tonight. Do you want to tell our listeners where they can find you and Eat2Explore?
And I also have a special discount for all your audience.
Yes.
So you can find us at Eat2Explore.com. It's EAT2 Explore.com. Use E2E20. Sorry, EE20 for 20% off.
Awesome.
And that's special.
Thank you.
EE20.
Thank
you.
I know what I'm doing after we sign off.
I know. I should have waited to buy the South Korea box.
Dino wanted to try the Italy box. He's like, why did you choose France? Why did you choose Italy? I'm like, I didn't choose.
The universe chose for you. Well, now you can
That's
buy the
right.
Italy box with a 20% discount. That's awesome.
There
Thank
go.
you.
20%. Welcome.
Siren, this is a lot of fun. Thank you so much for getting out of your comfort zones a bit and trying some new food. This makes me want to hold another cooking class, honestly. And thank you, fellow explorers, for listening to this episode. We really appreciate you spending your time with us. If you like the show, please rate us and leave a review. It would be super helpful in helping other explorers find us. And if you have a little conspiracy theorist in you, you'll want to subscribe to our Patreon, where we're posting episodes of a new show called Siren Song. And in this series, we're going to tell each other about different conspiracy theories and get each other's reactions. It's a ton of fun. We're going to record a new episode next week. We hope to see you there. And until next time, dive in, stay curious, and be happy. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of Siren Soapbox, and a special thank you to C Strings for providing our music. Snag their latest EP from iTunes today. Follow the Sirens on all the social medias, and don't forget to tell your friends about us. Like and subscribe wherever you listen to your podcasts. We'll catch you next time on another episode of Siren Soapbox.